Aeschylus was born in ancient Greece during the 6th and 5th centuries before the Common Era. His plays are the oldest surviving, and some of the most influential and most commendable ever written. Although a discussion of his style and philosophical messages is saved for the conclusion of the series, on this video you may learn about one of the plays that are attributed to him, Aeschylus the Persians. Aeschylus' intent in this play is often debated. Some argue that he either intended to laud the Athenians for their victory against Xerxes and the Persians, a victory in which he himself had taken part as he fought at Salamis and Plataea. Others claim that he wanted to criticize and point out the disastrous and miserable consequences of needless war, at least when perpetrated by a tyrant. Of course, it may be said that the play does both things: deride war, and all the while praise Athens' military virtue. Yet, I believe that at least this part of the tetralogy, as it is, but the surviving portion of 4 plays, does something else. The first scene takes place at the palace of Xerxes in the city of Susa. In the foreground is the tomb of the king's father, Darius. Xerxes himself is not there yet. At first there is only a chorus of elder Persian men. These sing a lamentation about the recent defeat of the Persians at the hands of the combined force of Greek allies. I should note that their references wallow Persian loss, not loss in general. The chorus does this until the mother of Xerxes enters the scene. In her first speech, the Persian queen says something I highlighted as worthy of an aphorism.
Sums of cowardly wealth do court contempt, and indigence quenches ambition's flame.
Ruminating on this deep psychological truth I crafted.
Although undeserving the wealth makes the wealthy disdain the poor, undeserving the poverty makes the poor feel they are unworthy of wealth.
Either way, back to the story. The queen relates a ghastly vision that came to her. In it, there were 2 perfectly beautiful women, one dressed as a Persian, the other as a Dorian, which is a type of Greek. The queen says,
Sisters they were, and inheriting their father's land, one received Greece, the other Asia, to dwell. Then strife arises between them, or so I dreamed, and my son, observing this, tries to check and soothe them, yokes them to a chariot, bridles their necks.
She continues to describe that one of the women would not submit. She casts off her yoke and Xerxes, her son, falls to the ground. An allusion is made as the queen mentions that her deceased husband pitied her fallen son. It should be inferred that the rebellious woman is the Greek one. I wonder whether their sisterhood is to be taken as a slight and subtle criticism of war in general. The queen inquires as to the state of the conflict. The chorus leader tells her that the Greeks are formidable enemies, and then a messenger arrives bearing news of the Persian misfortune. The chorus laments once more, and following the queen's question, the messenger provides a dramatized historical account of the conflict. The following passage is unquestionably a commendation and laudation of Athens.
What? Athens still stands unsacked?
As long as there are men, the city stands secure.
Of course, this is meant to defend Athenian honor, as in reality the people had to abandon their own city for a while. In the meantime, the Persians captured Athens and set it on fire. Yet, of course, the Athenians returned. The details of the war can best be learned from Herodotus, whose writings are also discussed on this channel. Another reference in this account that I found noteworthy was the mention of the small island in front of Salamis. I believe Aeschylus is referencing the island that Aristides is tasked with capturing during the Battle of Salamis. This is explained by Plutarch in his biography of the great and noble Athenian. After the explanation, and some lamentation, the queen makes a rather profound and noteworthy observation.
If one's experienced in troubles, one knows that, when a flood of evil comes, we tend to fear for everything, but when a god provides an easy voyage, we think that fortune's never-changing wind will blow forever.
I am certain that there is an aphorism to be crafted here. How about,
Experience teaches that a raindrop of evil never floods the stream of life, and that a salubrious wind never blows all the way to a promised land.
Either way, the queen basically summons the spirit of Darius. She does so through hymns and incantations, with the aid of the chorus, of course. Although many believe that the Persians are not portrayed as foolish barbarians, I find the way the chorus is fearful of the king, albeit the spirit or ghost of the king, is stereotypical of barbarism towards their alleged superiors. Notice how the ghost of the king says to the fearful servants,
"Since this ancient fear obstructs your sense."
Therefore, he turns to the queen. She is not afraid of the spirit, but says something that I also find stereotypical of barbarians.
For while you still beheld the light of sun, you spent your life in enviable happiness, like gods. And now I envy you your dying too, before you had to see this depth of woe.
On the one hand, there is the belief that the tyrant is joyous, and also, contrary to the Odyssey, even among the likes of Aeschylus, she attests that death would be better than a woeful life. Of course, I do not mean to hate or criticize anyone, but Homer would consider that mentality barbarian. Yet, in other plays, Aeschylus hints at what might have been a dispute or fundamental difference with Homeric morality. The queen informs the ghost of Darius about various historical details, such as the bridge across the Hellespont, and then Darius laments the defeat and loss. He begins by remarking that,
"Never had anyone before made this city Susa so empty and so desolate."
Then Darius describes his and Xerxes' genealogy and ends by saying,
"Of all who've held these powers, none has caused such suffering."
I see two salient points on this discourse. One, though arguable, is a universal criticism of war. The other, fatherly disappointment as the gravest of dishonors and misfortunes. I find this latter interpretation curious, as if it is true, then not only is Aeschylus casting the greatest and most mocking of insults upon Xerxes, but, well, it is proof that this is universally undesired. Darius then relates future events. He reveals that the Persians will also lose a land battle and that few will return across the Hellespont. This makes clear that the events of the play are supposed to be occurring after the naval battle off the coast of Salamis, but before the land battle of Plataea. It makes it possible to anticipate that routed Xerxes will soon appear. Before finally exiting, the ghost of Darius asks that his son be counseled to temper his ambition and ego. He says that,
"Zeus is the chastener of over-boastful minds, a grievous corrector."
At the end of his speech, Darius says something that formulated in my mind an aphorism decrying the improper use of religion. Know that at the end of the series I will show all the aphorisms I crafted from the surviving plays of Aeschylus. After Darius' ghost leaves, and the chorus sings its lamentations, Xerxes arrives alone and destitute. From this point onward there is but a lyric interplay between the king and the chorus. In the Lamentations, the chorus asks about various names of famous Persians, and Xerxes reveals that they are all dead. I do not know what to say about the ending. Basically a lot of lamentations. So, I do not know if this play is merely making fun of the Persians, or also criticizing war in general. It certainly seems to laud the Athenians and deride Xerxes. I think the whole idea of his father being disappointed in him was meant to be a most egregious slap in the face. On this channel you may watch videos outlining all of Aeschylus' plays. That includes the plays of eternal renown such as Prometheus Bound, or the trilogy on Agamemnon, Clytemnestra, and Orestes. Now, to pique your curiosity, to motivate you to watch the last video of the series, I gift you a teaser sample of one of the many aphorisms I crafted as I read this author.
The curse of good luck is animosity, while that of bad luck is anonymity.
If you enjoy or gain from my aphorisms, know that I have thousands. I will be writing books with short thematic essays composed out of aphorisms. These essays are profound and intriguing yet easy to read. For very cheap copies, look up Protagoras Pause in the Amazon website. I repeat, Protagoras Pause, that's my name.